Yeah, good morning all. We'll start the session now. We still have a few more participants to join, but then let's value the time for the participants who have already joined. It's good to start, and we have our expert Anil sir, Mr. Anil, and Mr. Bharat Juneja also who's joined. So just to start with, I a warm welcome to you all for today's webinar. Okay, we are really thankful for you to join and enroll to this session for today's session. I am Saurabh Purtarkar and I'm managing the training operations for Quality Austria Central Asia. Uh, to brief about Quality Austria Central Asia, we have delivered a decade in delivering quality services with a workforce of around 2,500 employees and a strong client base of around 2,100. Also, with 26 offices across India, Quality Austria is a leading service provider in certification, inspection, testing, training, cybersecurity, and sustainability. We hold multiple accreditations, including NABCB, QCI, IRCA, and 17020. Additionally, we have our own labs for pool testing, material testing, and a cyber lab as well. Just before we proceed, few quick notes for all the participants. This webinar will run approximately for one and a half hours, including the time for question and answers. Uh, in case you have any questions, we request you to please feel free to drop them in the chat box, or there is a separate tab created for question and answers, and we'll address them at the end of the session. Currently, you will not be able to unmute yourselves. We will allow you to unmute once the session is over and open for Q&A. So just a kind request to all the participants, just keep your cameras on, just to make it more interactive and engaging for our trainer as well. So I welcome Bharat Juneja sir, and I hand over the session to him. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Uh, uh, Juneja sir, you are on mute, so you can unmute and we are good to go for the session. We'll start the session.
Yes, yes. Wait a minute. Thank you, thank you.
While Bharatji is setting up his PowerPoint presentations, let me just take a few moments. ESG is something which is a buzz thing, a happening thing. Uh, so the intent of this session is to give you a brief idea about what the sustainability is all about and what ESG as an environment talks about, which includes what are the various angles in which ESG paraphernalia lies. So this 1 hour session is to give you a brief idea. So just make sure that you have a lot of questions. And as Saurabh told you, just type those questions in the question box and then we can take it up and, as time comes to us. Thank you. Yes, Bharat, you can take it now. I just
Saurabh,
intervened because
you have to unmute me, sir. Yeah, I hope now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bharat, we can hear you.
Yes,
can
yes,
hear
we
you.
can hear you now, sir.
Yeah.
I hope you are able to see the presentation also.
Yes, yes, sir.
Put it on the full screen on the presentation mode.
Okay.
Yes, now it's okay. Fine. Thank you.
Good, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session. In this 1.5 hour session, we will try to give you some of the brief about ESG, how things has been introduced, how things has been forced into our day-to-day operations, and what is the importance and how we can assist you. These will be 5-6 major agenda points around which we will be moving around today. Not to start with, we will say that we'll try to understand the word sustainability, because sustainability is something which is taken as the prime base of the ESG. So if we refer to the standard, sustainability means meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their needs. One is we are meeting our requirements, but we are making sure that we leave enough room for our future generation so that they are able to meet their own needs. See, it is in terms of your natural resources, in terms of the climate. So we need to take care of our needs today so that we are able to make room for the future generation to meet their needs. I hope this is now understood. Now, if we talk about this, most of us are from the industry's background. We will talk about the industrial background only, how our organizations will benefit out of the sustainable ESG path. See, first and foremost is that due to this environmental conditions and the legal implications, most of the financial and statutory bodies has made mandatory for the tier 1 suppliers to comply to the ESG and declare by what time they will be able to meet their targets and declare these targets. So, if we have to meet the customer requirements, or if we have to meet the statutory and regulatory bodies requirements, or if we have to meet the financial bodies requirements, please try to understand that by financial bodies means if we are applying for the loan, so there the banks are putting up the conditions by what time you will be able to declare your ESG and and your carbon emissions. Similarly, most of the statutory bodies, like if we are putting up plants in a big way, there also the state governments are asking us by what time you will be able to declare your ESG statement. Similarly, most of the if we are getting import and exports, there also you will find that in all the major bigger avenues, the bodies are saying us, making it us mandatory to meet the statutory and regulatory requirements of declaring ESG statement. So if we are implementing ESG across the board, then first and foremost is we will be able to meet those requirements. They will give us way to go ahead. Unless and until we are not meeting those requirements, we won't get the way to go ahead. Then is once we are into the operations, once we are into operations, like for industries which are into operations, if we are implementing ESG, it will give us a edge on the efficiency and reduce the operating costs. Operating cost means like whatever non-value adding activities we are doing. The one very simple example is that we are using a lot of packing materials. Now you people must have observed that in many of the industries, this packing they have made it as reusable. And earlier, whatever packing boxes or gunny bags we were using, the industry has made a practice that this will be made in a reusable condition. So this is how we will be able to reduce lot of the packing material and reduce our operating cost. Achieve competitive advantage in building the customer and investors trust. Now, once we are meeting the customer requirements of environmental friendly materials, environment friendly packings, environment friendly environments, and this will help us to meet and build the customer and investors trust. Once investor means the people who have invested money or the time into our organization. They are the biggest stakeholders. With this implementation, we will be able to bring the confidence of the investors in terms of future investments. Now, creating a positive brand image by communicating and managing the environmental, social, and ethical issues. The biggest example is that in hotel industries, you might have seen that most of the hotels now they are working on ESG. They are deploying environmental friendly materials. They are deploying responsibility and accountability of individuals. You will find that in many of the hotels, the ladies has been deployed, and many of the hotels some people like who are not properly or disabled, they have been given appropriate job. As a matter of fact, that yes, we are giving opportunities to the society. And above all, the ethical issues. We are in many of the industries, many of the hospitals, many of the hotels, you will find that the roles and responsibility and a proper respect is being given to the employees. So these are how our organization will be benefited by deploying ESG. Now, to give you a brief, that it is not only industry, it is most of the railways you will find, in many of the mining industry, food industry, hotel industry, aeronautical industry, you will find that this ESG is not a just word or a statement. Now you will find many examples of these industry where people have already started working on environment, social governance. And by taking the examples of these big industries, we are bound to take ESG into our practice and improve our ESG performance. Like top brands, if I talk about top brands, they are improving their quality and scale by deploying ESG. Now the top brands like OEMs, they are insisting their suppliers type T1 and T2 to deploy ESG norms. You must have observed that in many of the industries now, the tier 1 suppliers has made mandatory that you start working on 1445 so that we make a foundation for the ESG. And many industries have already started working on ESG and forcing their T1 and T2 suppliers to work on ESG. Now, top brands are working on the innovation and the relevance. See, please try to understand. You will find that in many of the industries, people are taking examples from other industry and deploying it. So we will try to give you a path where you will be able to identify which are my pain areas, which are my relevant areas, and how I can be innovative so that I am not being a copycat. So we will try to give you a path where you will find out the biggest pain areas and some of the innovative methods so that you are able to take a lead. Companies with high emissions. Now, please try to understand the industries like transportation industry, like freight industry. They are creating energy producing industry. They are producing a lot of emissions. So there the potential is very high. And there you will find that there is a very big race of implementation of ESG, and for these type of industries, the targets are also very stringent. Similarly, for the energy producing companies, imports and exports, I have already given you one example that many of the industries, many of the countries which are importing oil from the different countries, so they have been asked by the World Bank that if you want further help from us, we need to see how you are going to help those countries from where you are getting your imports in terms of oil or in terms of casting materials or in terms of forging materials or in terms of plating materials. So these are 3 4 major industries which are in and around us, where you will find that many of the developed countries has outsourced their carbon emitting parts to the developing countries. So this is how the World Bank or other financial and statutory bodies or exim boards are tightening their rules against the people who are getting import from the developing countries. So, my dear friends, the note here is that it is not only a type of industry drive or a country drive or a big OEM drive. This is a worldwide drive. And under this drive, today or tomorrow, everybody will fall into this cycle. So it is very important for us to be prepared as soon as possible get awareness about these standards, these norms, and deploy it as soon as possible. I hope uh, uh, things are comfortable. You are able to see and listen uh, uh, promptly. You can drop a message in the chat box. Now,
Yes, sir, we are
another.
able to.
Thank you, boss. Thank you. Now, just to give you another bigger aspect, first is we should have the bigger aspect. We have tried to list down various big names, big giants, which has taken the targets of the carbon in terms of carbon. Like if I take the example of Apple, they are the people who have declared themselves that we will be carbon neutral by 2030. I started with Apple because Apple, Microsoft, and they are the two, three people who have declared the earliest that we will be the earliest carbon neutral people. And out of these three, Apple is something who is into real manufacturing. If I talk about Microsoft or Tencent, they are basically into the software development. So people who are brand image or brand creators, they have declared that by 2030 we will be carbon neutral. Similarly, many of the industries, if I say that in India, almost the government of India has made it mandatory that top 100 companies must declare their statement by what time they will be carbon neutral or ESG compliance within this year only. So this is just to give you a broader picture how this drive is coming to our day-to-day operations. If anyhow we are a part of this supply chain, then we need to deploy the ESG norms. Now, just to give you another bigger picture so that we are very clear that how big this drive is and how quick and how accurate we need to be into this drive, that in less than 4 years, the awareness or the people who are sending queries has gone almost double. If I talk about 28 to 70%, this has more than 100% jump. Now, again, to give you another bigger picture, how this is going to affect my day-to-day life. One is my professional life, another is my personal life. Now, if I talk about the greenhouse effect, almost everybody has experienced by now that with this increase in depletion of the ozone layer, the our day-to-day life has become very uncertain. The type of climate change which we are facing today, be it in any part of the world, be it in Asia, Europe, or in US, you must have heard the high rainfall in countries like Saudi Gulf countries. You must have heard about heavy rainfalls, heavy snowfall in US based US part of the US. Similarly, in India, we are experiencing how bad weather is, how polluted weather is. So this is how everybody has to work into this as a professional as well as in personal affairs. Now, this is just to give you a pictorial view that if we will not work on this as a professional or as a personal, then our earth is going to collapse. This is how the environment is being created and how we are facing the problem in our day-to-day life. Now, to understand better in terms of technical terms, we will say that this pollution is basically into four parts: the carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrogen oxide, and others. So carbon dioxide gas, which is the major contributor, is being created by more or less by the transportation. It is not that it is only by transportation, but we are talking about the Pareto analysis. You will find that the CO2 mainly is created by the transportation. There are few people which must have witnessed the stringent norm from BS4 to BS6, which we have undergone. The government of India have decided to go from BS4 to BS6, whereas European countries took some time to BS4 to BS5 and BS5 to BS6. So this is where the government of India has taken a very strong step. They have taken a jump from BS4 to BS6. There are few participants of ours who are from the African countries. There you will witness that still there is no control or check over the pollution by the vehicles. So please try to understand this is a continual improvement activity. If we are at level X, then the statutory regulatory body asks us that by what time you will be coming out of this and how you will be meeting the requirements. So whatever level you are there, we are talking about the worldwide, how worldwide the things are being implemented and being governed. So we are at BS6, but there are few countries where even BS4 or the even pollution monitoring is not there. But for all part of the world, things are being tightened now, and everybody is working on ESG now. So CO2 is more or less created by transportation. Methane is more or less created by the natural gas system by burning the gases. And nitrogen oxides are being created by the manufacturing of manufacturing energy, where we are creating the energy. So this is how we can understand, we can make our policies where we need to attack first, where we need to attack, we have to take maximum steps to cut down our uh, uh, losses and bring our compliances better. Now, another is to give you the bigger picture, then we will take you to the part where if we will not perform well, if we are not comply well, glaciers are degrading and sea level is rising. I hope everybody is aware that many part of Indian sea is raising the level, and we are expecting that many cities will be underwater by year 2050. Extreme weather, we have already briefed you that how we are facing extreme weather in different part of the world nowadays. Natural disasters, you must have heard about how the natural disaster has taken in Saudi and Gulf countries. Environmental pollution, how we are experiencing pollution, the AQI level in various part of our countries, how we are facing the problem of grapefruit, all our constructions are on hold, or our vehicle with diesel are all on hold. And believe me, if this problem will not control, then this norms will keep on strengthening. Collapse of the ecosystem. Yes, this is also is expected that if we will not take immediate step, how it is going to affect my ecosystem. And if this continues, it is very soon that the ozone layer will be depleted and the harmful rays will touch our earth. Plant diseases and pandemics. We are very clear that with increase in temperature, with increase in climate variations, we are experiencing how the diseases in the